We're wrapping up Spirit Week with all of your questions. It's Die Hard Day, and it's the pressing Cardinal questions going into the 2025 season, Johnny Venerable.
Yeah, the topic of the show to kick things off, what happens if Drew Petzing's unit on offense is potentially worse for the Redbirds? PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K, the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Bo Brack on a Football Friday. Noah behind the mic. It's Die Hard Friday here on PHNX Cardinals. We are answering your questions laid out in the Discord. Bo, we're fired up.
We are, absolutely. When we can show off this impressive community that we're a part of here, the PHNX Cardinals community, and then some, asking all the tough questions, want to know about their favorite football team, and we're going to try our best to answer those questions. We've got a full house already. How about, Johnny, you got to love this, Rebel Leader. How about that boy, OD, Emily JoJo, how we doing? Mr. J, Schaff, as always, here. What time did he get here? Hun shot first. Kyle Kiesling, Jackson Matix. I see you, Sag, as well. The squad. I love it. Packed house here. Looking to wrap up a great Spirit Week. There's Jules Felix, as usual, but we're going to get into it hot heavy with the Cardinals questions. It's going to be a fun one. Ryan, yeah, there we are.
It'll absolutely be fun here because literally everything laid out in the show notes, in the description, in the show agenda is Die Hard exclusive. And let's kick things off. Let's jump into the first one here from our guy, Russell. Russell with the show topic today. He was the first to put it in the Die Hard Discord. Of course, become a Die Hard at gophnx.com. Bo Brack, Johnny Venerable. What happens? Cardinals will have a worse offense than last year. So a regression. So not the uptick that we're all expecting, that we're all praying for to the football gods. What happens if Drew Petzing, Kyler Murray, Marv, they can't get it together and they go backwards? Cardinals were top half of the NFL on offense, but still looked very difficult at times. It was carried by a run-dominant, run game with James Conner and Trey Benson. The passing game regressed. Deep passing game, non-existent. Marvin Harrison Jr., not enough targets, not enough development from Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray. So again, Bo, I'll pose it to you. What happens if a regression happens?
That might be the worst of all realities. Russell, thank you for the question and putting this kind of on notice, maybe sobering us up from the sunshine and roses that we've been kind of smelling throughout this offseason. As you saw this, what we view as an improved overall team, but look, they're running it back on offense, and there is obviously proof of performance or lack thereof. Yeah. And they're leaning in on the continuity, the chemistry that they hope that they're going to build. But the reality is what Johnny just said, there was inconsistencies throughout 2024 that you hope doesn't linger into 2025. And look, if they're the status quo with an improved defense, does that mean that the Cardinals can maybe still go to the postseason? But I think if you suffer those stagnant series that they have and aren't able to kind of muster up enough points. I mean, look, they scored 9 against the Rams. They struggled against the Seattle Seahawks twice. You saw multiple times where they were just kind of in the teens, even though they averaged over 23 points per game.
Yeah.
You just envision that, hey, year 3, things should just be on the up and up. But the reality of the NFL sometimes is things start to sometimes things fall off out of nowhere, and you can't anticipate. You usually don't anticipate it, but it would be a big time indictment, I think, on the play calling. And I think obviously the person that would be zeroed in on in a regression would be, unfortunately, the quarterback. So it would, I think, ultimately, Johnny, if that happens, then there would be a lot of tough conversations at the end of 2025.
Cardinals last year were 12th in points scored. And Bo, as you mentioned, 23.5 points per game. That was roughly 15th in the NFL in terms of points.
47 in the finale helped that out a little bit.
Yep. So right around, I would say, like middle of the pack. And then defensively, agreed, 15th overall in total defense points allowed. So you're telling me like Cardinals went backwards from middle of the pack. That means like probably like bottom third. It would lead, let me just cut to the chase. Drew Petzing would probably likely be dismissed as offensive play caller. Kyler Murray, at the very least, you would bring in competition for Kyler Murray in the form of a draft pick or a veteran, or you would outright move on from the franchise quarterback. I think, like, you know, you're not moving off Trey McBride. You're not moving off Marvin Harrison Jr., Paris Johnson. I think it would be an indictment of the offensive coordinator and the quarterback, because they're the conductors for this thing. You would need to go into 2026 with basically a new identity for both of those, or at minimum competition and a new identity at offensive coordinator. Like that. That's just that will happen. If the Cardinals don't make the playoffs this year, a lot of it's going to be about optics, right? How, Seahawks didn't make the playoffs last year. They won 10 games. You're telling me if the Cardinals win 10 games, like, heads are going to roll? No, but like, if the offense is the reason that this team is held back again, there will be sweeping changes. But I don't think to the personnel beyond quarterback, because quarterback's the needle mover. So that is, I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. Like, Drew Petzing would be dismissed. Kyler Murray would likely be replaced. That's what would happen.
There would be nowhere to run for those two.
No.
And it would be tough to kind of have one take the blame and the other get through scot-free. It just, if that reality happened, and there's a lot of confidence. There's a confidence, obviously, on this show.
Yeah,
we talk about it almost on a daily basis. I think the actions of the organization show that they have confidence in a conviction in their play caller and their quarterback and this scheme, and that the continuity is going to prove to benefit them.
Yep.
But with all that being said, if there is a regression, there's, like, we were watching Kyler Murray kind of play chess last week, right? He was in that tournament. Like, once you get down to it and most of your pieces are off the board, you're just trying to avoid checkmate. And, like, if there is a regression, like, I don't know how that would be possible if with post, the 2025 season, you kind of taking everything into consideration. Like, I don't know if there was anywhere to run.
Yeah. Field Yates posted this. This was on NFL and ESPN before the show. I retweeted it. Games with 7 or more catches in 2024. Malik Neighbors had 9. Marv had 0.
Yeah.
And he pointed out, it's like on the Cardinals to build more opportunities for Marv this season. I mean, like, I don't know if he'll ever have 9 or 10, maybe, but I know you're scoffing at that. I think at, like, minimum, though, he's got to have some games where it's like 8 to 10 catches for Marv. More opportunity.
Games with 6 catches. I don't disagree. I don't think it's like a damning stat or a smoking gun like that Marvin was completely misutilized. I still think that there was a ton of variables that went into him. A player that we in field was right as far as how he broke down in 4th overall pick. You mentioned, like, what we went through that offseason, that they had opportunities to trade down, but they ultimately chose, this is our guy, this is our alpha bird, and why not embrace him by trying to, different ways to, as Field Yates calls for it, make him the vocal point of the offense. But look, to say it's not apples to apples, Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., as far as their situations. Like, Malik Neighbors was the offense. Like, sure, they had a decent run game that came out of nowhere, but, like, he was the offense. There was no Trey McBride. There was nothing. It was just spam Malik Neighbors the football. and the Cardinals obviously had other ways to go. But he's not I don't think it's completely wrong, but like you're not gonna sway me with that argument. Like he didn't have any 7 catch games, and I'm just like, well, that's an odd number.
It's a statistic, and
yeah.
Again, like I think it is nice to see like national media like point out like, the player can take some accountability. This is a usage problem. I think you and I are in agreement. The usage, route running. I don't know if he'll ever be the focal point with Trey McBride, but co-focal point, like 2 number ones, that's what you need.
That's another kind of part of this this conversation. If the offense regresses, like does that mean that we don't get the jump that we're anticipating from Marvin Harrison Jr.? That becomes a conversation in itself, right? And then like the complementary parts, like was there anybody outside of Trey McBride in this run game that produced? It's a scary future that I don't like to think about, and the fact I just really kind of want to push it down until we really until it comes to a head in the 2025 season. Hopefully it doesn't.
Thank you, Russell, for that first question. Keeping things going. Cole, diehard member Cole in the chat. Let's pull this up. How many players currently on this roster will be here in 3 years? Is Kyler anyone on the offensive line outside of Paris, any of the inside linebackers, etc.? So great question from our guy Cole. How many players are on the roster in 3 years? So if I go over to impromptu, this is not good podcasting, overthecap.com. So let's just jump ahead to 2020. I'll do 2028. That's like a full 3 years.
Yeah.
The only people on the roster signed right now, this rookie class, Kyler, Trey just got an extension, and then the 2 bell cow free agents, Dalvin Tomlinson, Josh Sweat. So again, like I think there'll be more than that, and there could be a subtraction. I hope K1's not subtracted, but we just got done talking about that. I think you're looking at extension candidates for 2023's draft class. Paris, Garrett Williams immediately. Mm-hmm. Michael Wilson pops, he's extended, right? Like those are 3 names. And then you just go draft class to draft class. Like who in the draft class? They've only had 3 under Ossenfort. The 2022 class, which was Kime's last one, outside of McBride, nightmare world, nobody's left remaining. Like you really just have to contextualize it, Bo. Basically say nobody before 2023 is worth investing in, respectfully, who hasn't already been extended. So you're basically asking, like, who's getting extended from Monti Ossenfort's draft classes?
Yeah. I mean, you look at, like, Marvin Harrison Jr. and both Darius Robinson have a 5th-year option, right? And so they very well will be, hopefully both under contract. And then, Max Melton, is he somebody that becomes an extension candidate? Yep. Trey Benson should be coming into his own. Like, we should know whether or not he's going to be a bell cow running back. And if he's not, is that somebody that you retain? And then you've got Rabbit Taylor Demerson that there's, I think, a lot of high hopes for, that he could be a starting safety in this league. And then Isaiah Adams, I think, on the offensive line, that's him and Paris Johnson Jr. are your homegrown offensive linemen that I believe that that's the way they want to do it. They want to draft, develop, extend. And I think that's the most exciting thing about this is, like, I don't look at it 3 years from now and say, hey, man, you got to really do some work here, or the cupboard's going to be bare by then. Like, for the first time in a long time, as a Cardinals fan, you look at that and say, hey, man, the future's bright, and the building blocks and the pieces that we're watching now are only going to develop, and they're going to be guys that we're going to watch for the foreseeable future and beyond. And the future is bright for the first time in a long time. Like there's consistent sustainability that you can see kind of what the Cardinals envision with these draft classes.
I'll tell you who won't be here, because I agree with you. I think it's all about draft and develop, and then they'll cherry pick free agents year to year. I mean, like Buda Baker at that point, you got to assume is retired or maybe on, close to retirement. Same with James Conner. I mean, we're talking about four seasons from now. Bilal Nichols, Justin Jones gone. Jacoby Brissett probably not around at that point. I mean, there's a lot of guys who are very much like year to year with the Arizona Cardinals. Like, Hakeem Davis Gaither? Does Mac Wilson Sr., sign a contract extension? Calais Campbell's gone by that point. So, I mean, it really is just coming down to like draft classes, free agents, cornerstone players. That's it. And then they're always going to be year-to-year guys, right? Like I think who's the Will Hernandez's of the world, or the Kazurics that they signed, the Mac Wilson Seniors, the Evan Browns, that part of the roster gets churned pretty consistently. But
I do think that the offensive line becomes the group that they turn their focus to now that they've done a lot of the heavy lifting as far as this rebuild goes. Like the secondary, there's not much room to make any additions to the defensive front seven. I think the edge room could stand to use some players, and you could see some premium draft talent utilized on that. But for the most part, I think that they're going to look to add offensive line room guys to pair with Paris Johnson Jr. and Isaiah Adams going forward.
1,000%. Let's keep things going. Goffey from Oz. Thank you, Goffey from Oz. BJ will lead the team in sacks this year. Yeah, absolutely. BJ Ojulari is going to lead the team in sacks this year, and one of Walter Darius will win Defensive Player of the Year within the next 3 seasons. Well, very aggressive. I love it. BJ Ojulari, let's start with that. For him to lead the team in sacks, but what has to go down between now and the week 1 against New Orleans? What's his timeline need to look like for that to happen?
For BJ Ojulari, I mean, I think for him to not start training camp on PUP, right? A guy that can come and be ready to go and get into game shape, because we know it's so important with this regime, with this coaching staff. Like we see them kind of really take really cautious approaches to it. The 5 buckets that Gannon talks about. You got the health bucket. Okay, if that's full and you're completely healed from your ACL surgery and you've gone through your rehab, now you've got to fill up the football bucket. And that's going to be a matter of him getting up to snuff as far as just schematically out there on the practice field, getting his football legs under him. And then it's a matter of just working him into the rotation. So it's not like it sounds daunting, but if he's ready for training camp potentially, and we don't know either way whether or not he will be or not, I think BJ Ojulari, if he is, he's in line to get into that pass rush rotation, and we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't, like when we saw him come back from the procedure he had going into his rookie year, we saw kind of a case where it took a little bit longer for him to get up to speed. You just hope that it's not as steep of a reacclimation curve.
I mean, I think it could happen. He's got to start week 1. He's got to earn a starting spot. Like I think about, remember when Hassan Reddick kind of took over and led the team in sacks? It took a Chandler Jones injury, right? And he just slid right in, and it, from week 1 to week 17, it didn't stop. Like if we fast forward to week 1, when we're in New Orleans with our friends at Burgain Travel, and let's say that Jordan Birch is a backup, and let's say Baron Browning had an injury or was just straight up beaten out, and Ojulari looks really good, and they tried him out there. He's got to get the majority of the playing time, especially on passing downs, and it could easily happen. But, to your point that you've made earlier this offseason, I love Sweaty J, but Sweaty J's sack total isn't the reason why the Cardinals signed him. He had 8 in the regular season, so I think it definitely, he's got to be healthy though. He's got to be healthy. He's got to be in shape. Something that has not happened in 2 years.
I think you can kind of count conservatively on Sweaty J for 7 to 8 sacks. So if you look at it from a positive standpoint, if those guys best him for sacks, then that means they're approaching double digits. And for a guy like was it D-Rob that was also mentioned along with BJ Ojulari? I mean, those are pretty robust numbers. So I'll take it. He's got. So Walter, BJ will lead the team in sacks with this year, and one of Walter or Darius will win Defensive Player of the Year within 3 seasons. I mean,
that's the aggressive part.
Yeah.
How many pure defensive tackles do you think have won the award dating back to, let's just go back to 2000?
I mean, Aaron Donald won it 3 times.
And that's it.
Is that it?
Yep. And unless you like, is JJ Watt a D tackle or is he an edge rusher or a hybrid between the two? I would say he's probably closer to an edge rusher than he is a D tackle, but JJ Watt won the award 3 times in 4 years. You know, I think edge rushers always kind of have the best chance because that's where you can put up like the gaudiest numbers. Walter Nolen or Darius Robinson would have to have like minimum like 14, 15 sacks to do that. Then the Cardinals would have to couple that by having the best defense in the NFL. They would have to have like the best defense in the NFL, and they would have to be the best player on that defense. So I think, yeah, Jacob saying JJ Watt was a hybrid. So I think of the 2 players, like who has a better chance to be a hybrid, Darius Robinson or Walter Nolen, in your opinion?
D-Rob.
So again,
but I feel like Walter Nolen has a chance to be more productive.
He's got a higher ceiling. So I will go with Walter Nolen as well. And he has to be Aaron Donald light for 1 year. So hey, listen, we would love to see it.
I like that question. It's bold from our guy Graffi, right? Who's in there from Oz. Love it. So let's keep him going here. Let's just continue to churn through it.
Yeah, Red Sea next up. Diehard Red Sea. Let's see it, Noah, man. Darius, how about it? And Ojulari will break out along the D-line and outproduce Josh Sweat. So we just talked about Ojulari. Let's focus on Darius Robinson. I don't think this is a hot take at all. And we got 6 people giving it the fire emoji in our Discord. By the way, get in the Discord.
Very popular.
Now. I think Darius Robinson is going to be the most productive defensive lineman the Cardinals have this year. I've been staunchly committed to that take. He looks fantastic. He was on his way last year. Give me a great year from Darius Robinson statistically, Bo. Obviously, let's assume he plays in most every game and he's back to his old self. What does Darius Robinson need to look like for you to be bought in?
I'm looking at from a dozen to 15 TFLs.
Okay.
And about 7 to 6 to 8 sacks.
Okay. That'd be a good year. Be a really good year. I mean, 8 sacks for any player is great. Ozzy saying 6 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, double-digit tackles for loss. I mean, is there a chance he could get to double-digit sacks? Like, it's a 17-game season. So, 10 out of the 17 games, you have to get a sack. But I could also see Darius having success against some of these immobile quarterbacks, sacks in bunches. Jacob saying leading the team in TFLs. His ceiling, I don't think can be discounted. And I think
and being a beast in the run game.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's also important here. Like defensive linemen who can do it both. They're not just, one getting after the quarterback or 2 being just in the run. Like they envision Darius being a very well-rounded defensive lineman.
Yeah. Let's keep things going. Jess, the Discord member, one of our favorites here, fixture at our watch parties. Kyler Murray plays his heart out this season, stays consistent and gets better, no falling off down the stretch, and takes us to the playoffs. I think that's a mandate almost for us to continue to see K1 as the franchise quarterback in the desert. Am I nuts here? Like, in a league where Geno Smith winning 10 games is not good enough and he's shipped out of town, and in a league where quarterbacks change on the drop of a dime, Kyler Murray, what are you doing in December and January is really going to be the measuring stick. We've talked about it ad nauseum. We are openly rooting for that, and I think most importantly, we believe it can happen. But this is it.
I like that it went from fire emojis on the last one to people just with the prayer hands.
Yeah.
Saying, yes, I pray for this before closing my eyes at night and when I awake in the morning. Look, I mean, Jonathan Gannon, when he said he wasn't going to make any power statements, and he said, I think Kyler Murray is going to have his best season yet. And what's that look like? That looks like playing at a high level consistently. And that's, from start to finish, that it's not going to just be, 4 to 5 games that you can count on one hand where he played, to the ability that we all knew he could as a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
But a guy that's going to be able to, put it to, consistently week in and week out. And can Kyler Murray do that from start to finish? He has the opportunity, like most of his NFL seasons, to start off hot. Now, can like he start off hot, start to put up some really gaudy numbers, and then maintain, to the end of the season? And that, I think that's what Jess is hoping for. I think that's what everybody's hoping for, because if you get that type of performance, like my co-host said, going into last year, if he plays the whole season at that type of level, then you can really say the Cardinals are going to be a playoff team.
1,000%. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be a fully baked season where the numbers aren't front loaded in the first 2.5 months. And again, like, we'll celebrate and praise and give credit if the Cardinals start fast and he's got gaudy numbers. You got to be able to, keep the train on the tracks through Thanksgiving and beyond. And that's when the schedule is difficult, and that's when we'll have a firm identity of this Cardinal team in 2025 with the free agent additions and the draft class and Marv's usage. So, I mean, it's a pivotal season, but I think he's very, very capable. You guys are capable. Drop a like. Your questions continuing after this on PHNX Cardinals. Everybody keeping it fresh and money in the Die Hard Discord with their questions. Speaking of your money, start managing your finances to build the life that you actually want with our friends at Monarch Money. Monarch makes managing money simple, even for the busiest of lives. With all of your accounts, credit cards, investments in one place, you'll always know where your money stands without the hassle, Bo. Track your spending, savings, investments effortlessly so you can focus on what matters most, making your biggest life goals a reality. Monarch Money is the finance tool people love. Named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025, top recommended personal finance app by users and experts for 30,000 five-star reviews. Again, get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use the bonus code PHNX, monarchmoney.com in your browser for the first half off this year. That's 50% off this year for the first half. monarchmoney.com, bonus code BO PHNX.
Monarch Money. Let's continue to talk about the almighty dollar. Let's talk about the smart way to stretch your dollar this summer. Mountain America Credit Union is hooking you up with 2 times the points on rewards for credit card purchases through July 31st. Double rewards through July 31st. Fantastic. Gas, groceries, travel, home projects, you name it. Use your Mountain America Credit Union rewards card and watch those points just pile up, baby. It's super simple way to boost your everyday spending and turn it into awesome rewards like travel rebates, gift cards, and event tickets. I asked Noah where he does his banking. He says, I just bury my cash in my backyard. I said, your money's not doing anything for you. Go get yourself a checking account over at Mountain America Credit Union, and you can start earning by where you store your money. Mountain America Credit Union committed to helping more than 1 million members, hundreds of branches across the West, so they're never too far from when you need them. Check them out right now. Tap into the double points promo, macu.com/double. That's macu.com/double. Loans approved on credit. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
Appreciate everybody who put in questions. All of our diehards. Now is the perfect time. Jump and become a diehard. We are restocking this MHJT as we speak. Keeping things going here on a Football Friday. Drop a like if you be so inclined. Hunter, next up in the diehard Discord chat. Will Johnson, Bo, wins Defensive Player of the Year, and the Cardinals win a playoff game while sweeping 2 division opponents on the way. I'm going to guess he means Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, yeah. And the Cardinals win a playoff game while sweeping 2 division opponents on the way. So, at minimum, they win 4 games in the division, in the NFC West, sweeping 2 opponents. Will Johnson winning Defensive Player of the Year or Rookie of the Year. I'll start things off. I think sweeping 2 divisional opponents, not that hard, because I think they're going to sweep San Francisco again. So, yeah. I mean, to win the NFC West, you really got to, I suppose you could split with the LA Rams and Seattle Seahawks, but for the sake of this, I think they match up better with the LA Rams. So I'm going to say F it. They sweep the LA Rams. And then Will Johnson, Will Johnson is going to start. Will Johnson is going to be put on an island. If Will Johnson is the player that we saw in 2023, he has big game-changing takeaways that lead to, I don't know, pick sixes, interceptions, fumble recoveries, and the Cardinals defense especially is productive, definitely can see it happening. Like, again, to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, you got to put up gaudy numbers, and he's capable of doing that.
I mean, I'll push back on that a little bit. I mean, Jared Verse won it with 4.5 sacks last season. Like, there is now, we live in a day where, the nerds will get out their TI 83s and they'll start to punch some analytics up. But you've got, as far as, I think the last defensive rookie of the year that was at the cornerback spot, was it Sauce Gardner?
Yeah.
And he had 2 picks, but he had 20 pass deflections. He was a monster. I mean, he wasn't allowing many receptions his rookie season. It was the clear-cut guy. I mean, he was unbelievable his rookie season for the New York Jets. Could we see something similar with with a guy like Will Johnson? He's certainly going to be put up in an opportunity. He understands the scheme. He played a similar position in a more of a zone concept for Michigan, 85% last season. And that's what the Arizona Cardinals like to run at over 60% of a clip. So look, let's see if that just the stars are aligning, but it could be very similar. What Sauce really enjoyed his rookie season coming out of Cincinnati. And there's not much of a jump, as we saw from Gardner going from playing at Cincy. I know they made a pretty big run there to the college football playoff, but Will Johnson was playing big boy football his entire collegiate career. Should transition maybe even a little bit easier.
Rams had an elite defense last year. I do think like Verse was helped by, because I agree with you, like Jared Verse's numbers weren't great, but they were on TV all the time. He was making plays. Yeah. Plus that there wasn't a defender drafted in the first round until like middle of the first round. And guys like Dallas Turner and Latu, they didn't make an impact. I mean, it was really like Jared Verse and then the corners out of Philadelphia, and that's it. And so it's unfortunate because I think Darius, and this is going to sound like homerism, but I think Darius would have contended for that award had he been healthy. So love that. Thank you so much, Hunter. Keeping things going. Real Tone Ranger here, or excuse me, Red Tone Ranger. Kyler Murray leads the Cardinals to a division title and a deep playoff run on his way to his first ever MVP award. Let's focus on let's keep this up here. Let's focus on the deep playoff run. I'm going to ask you, Bo, if Kyler Murray wins multiple playoff games and they get to the NFC Championship game, is he thought of more fondly than Carson Palmer, which Carson Palmer is largely considered like second or third best QB in franchise history.
Yeah.
Obviously Warner number one, then it's like Jim Hart probably right after that or in that discussion. Carson Palmer only won one playoff game. Cardinals had a first round bye. They beat the Packers in overtime, and then they were dismal in the NFC Championship game. Cover your ears, Britton Golden, and weren't competitive with C-Palm, who was injured. And then, like, that was it. Like, the other year they went to the playoffs, he was injured. Like, let's say Kyler Murray wins 2 playoff games and gets to the NFC Championship game. How is he not better than Carson Palmer historically? I know the bar's low.
It's a great point. No, I think he probably does take over. Obviously, there's a little bit of longer a tenure. He's a homegrown guy. No, I think that he would take over Carson Palmer and only be behind, I think, Kurt Warner at that point as far as beloved signal callers, because Warner made a deep run out of nowhere to the Super Bowl and then led the Cardinals back to the playoffs the very next season before retiring. He I think absolutely probably takes over Carson Palmer. And it helps like what I think he's done the last couple off seasons too. That plays into it. Most recently with the softball game, and I know we were involved in it, but I think it ingratiated himself even more so with the community.
Yep.
And there's a kind of a sect of this fan base that has been ride or die Kyler for so long, but it not only would they be, obviously paid off with a deep run and be able to kind of silence the haters out there, but I think it would also turn a lot of people who are on the fence about Kyler Murray.
MVP, you're probably looking at first round bye or a top 2 seed in the NFC to win that award, because a lot of it's
you need a lot of wins. Yep. You need a lot of wins. You need a lot of total touchdowns. So like, he had 26 total touchdowns last year. You probably need to score 15 more passing and rushing combined, like get close to 40, and then also have the team success to be included in that conversation. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to go.
He's got the skill set, no doubt about it. Mr. J in the chat, in the Discord. Next up here, in a horrific discovery, Johnny and Damon discovered that Bo's hatred of Star Wars is used to hide his love of the Step Up franchise, not the kind of show building. Petzing gets fired after failing to score double digits against the Titans at home in week 5. What's Step Up? Is that like the dance movies?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Channing Tatum.
Oh, okay. Have you seen any of those?
I can't say that I've seen an entire Step Up. I know that it's a series, right? Is it a trilogy? Is it just like Star Wars? Is it also a trilogy? I know there's like Step Up, like Return to the Streets or something like that.
There are here. I'm going to read them off to you.
If you would,
them up. Step Up.
And this is just I'm just playing this role. Like you guys know that I know it. I of course know all the Step Up films.
All right. There's Step Up that was released in 2006 with Channing Tatum. Then there's Step Up to the Streets. And then there was Step Up 3D, of course.
Yeah. Then
there was Step Up Revolution.
Yep.
Then there was Step Up All In. And then there was there's a sixth one.
Yeah. Just
called Step Up China, which I don't know if that is a dancing movie that takes place in China or if that's not associated with it. But three Step Up movies in the 2000s and then since 2010. So, yeah, there's a big catalog of films, Bo, for you to check out.
Tough to beat, pound for pound, one of the best trilogies, and then some. As you whirled through, just power performance after power performance.
I know that Channing Tatum met his wife on that first one. I don't think they're together anymore. So I need to step up. I definitely do. The other part of that question, what was the other part of that? That Drew Petzing got fired by week 5. So let's pull up the schedule if we could, Damon Dog. So the Cardinals would have to struggle.
Whoa.
I'm sorry. Noah, man. Excuse me. Noah, man.
We call you Damon?
Schedule. That's the
Come
first
on,
time
Johnny. Step up your game.
I was so excited to look at Drew Petzing and the smorgasbord of points that they're not going to score. Noah, man, thank you for the schedule. So they would have to struggle through 5 games against offenses led by Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, Bryce Young, Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, and Cam Ward. That's the worst of all realities if the offense can't perform against opposing offenses like that.
Math to the power of Joe. JV seems to know a lot about Step Up emoji.
It's called the internet, guys.
He did. Yeah, right. You were just rattling that off. You even knew the backstory. Like Channing Tatum met his wife on that
I think
set.
that's pretty common. That's pretty common.
Look, this is not something. This would be an awful start to the season, considering when you go through it. If the Cardinals offense struggles against the teams they play in the first 5 weeks, it's going to be a disgusting season overall. Like there's nothing to root for as far as that goes. Like if Drew Petzing is so horrendously bad that the Cardinals need to fire him after the first 5 weeks of this season, which sets up for offensive success, that's just bad news for Cardinals fans. That is nothing that I want anybody to say, hey, this is actually going to be like a blessing in disguise.
Red Sea keeping things going here. Drop a like on a football Friday. Red Sea diehard. Bo makes fun of Star Wars because he's actually a massive Star Trek fan. He actually signed off in an early show with Long Live and Prosper, but had Damon delete the video on demand to conceal his shame. OGs of the show remember. Bo, care to come clean about your Star Trek love affair?
Here I am. Look at that. This hurts. This is painful.
Nice.
Yeah. I've seen some Star Trek. Was it the Next Generation back in the day? I remember that.
I have never seen one Star Trek movie, film, or episode of TV ever.
Even the reboot with Chris Pine.
I heard it was okay. It's not my vibe.
Okay.
It's like it's like Coke or Pepsi. You gotta pick one.
You're usually in on all stuff like that, so you had to actively make the decision. I'm not gonna go watch the Star Trek, the J.J. Abrams thing.
I have never seen any of the Harry Potter movies.
Oh,
I've watched Lord of the Rings one time, and
I've never seen a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
and I've seen one Harry Potter.
I thought
Oh
Lord of the Rings was
gosh,
incredibly
guys.
mid.
Yeah.
I appreciate the effort that went into it. Didn't vibe with it at all. You know what my number one is, and then as you know, like I will dabble in Marvel and DC. That's about enough capacity. I don't have any more than that. Nate, it is a lot. Keep going, Nate. Wow, no Harry Potter. You know what I'll do? I will watch them with my kids if they're interested. I know HBO Max is rebooting it. So I'll if my kids are like, let's watch Harry Potter, I'll be like, okay. I'm not like opposed to it. I heard the Universal Studios Harry Potter stuff is cool, but wouldn't be able to appreciate it. Nate Dogg in the Discord. Next up here, the Cards defense, Bo. Back to Cards talk. Will be a top 10 defense in the NFL this year. Is this an expectation, by the way? Do you feel this way?
What we say to somebody when I said it looks like Nick Rawls has got a top 10 defense on his hands. If it's just top 10, he's going to be fired. Top 5, I mean, that the Cardinals had a top 5 defensive performance, man, that would be a blast of a season. Do they have the ingredients to do it? I think that there's a good mix of vets and rookies, and guys would have to make major jumps, but I think it's possible. It really is. Like I don't want that to just be like a throwaway hyperbole comment. I do think there is a reality in the future where this Arizona Cardinals is a suffocating, stifling defense. Can it be as early as year 3 of this regime with as many young guys where it has to go almost like everything has to kind of go right for that to happen? But I do think it's possible.
Top 5 last year in total defense. Eagles 1, Titans somehow number 2, Jets, Dolphins, Packers. Now that's defensive yardage given up per game. I don't have points per game in front of me, but I mean, the Cardinals were like 21st in defensive yards allowed, and they were 15th in points per game. So that's all I care about, really. How many points you giving up on average per week? And if it's in the top 5, then you're a playoff team. Like as long as you're not, like we talked about earlier, an unmitigated disaster on offense. I mean, this defense, though, I think we're both in agreement, like could be the strength of this team, given the influx of talent you brought in this offseason. I'm ready for a top 5 defense. My body is ready. I'm ready for you to hit that like button. More Die Hard chat right around the corner. Football Friday. It's PHNX Cardinals. But first, it is hot as hell outside. I'm going to tell you right now, triple digits mean you have to be smart when it comes to energy costs and savings. And again, with summer here, it's time to get on with a smart thermostat to help you manage your energy bills. You ever wonder, like, am I going too low? Is this going to manipulate my bill? Am I going to be paying triple digits, $300, $400, $500? I know somebody recently paid $600 for their energy bill. Smart thermostats can work with your APS rate plan to maximize comfort and convenience while minimizing your energy costs. Now, if you're using an APS time of use plan, use your smartphone or device to automatically adjust the thermostat to take advantage of lower cost off-peak hours. APS customers may be eligible for smart thermostats as low as $0 when you enroll in the APS Cool Rewards program. Now, if you're not sure if you've got one already, that being a smart thermostat, they do free install at the APS Marketplace. Plus, you can see if you're eligible for those cool rewards. Find instant rebates, discounts, and special offers on smart thermostats, energy-efficient appliances, and more. Again, marketplace.aps.com. You got to be a customer of APS. Got to take on those shipping and taxes. Other restrictions may apply. Again, check them out online today.
As low as $0. It seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal for a smart thermostat. Utilize mine all the time. Got the app on my phone. When I'm jumping in my truck, head home, I make sure the house is cooled down because, my God, it is just too damn hot out there. Also, with the hot temperatures, how about a nice ice cold frosty? Frosty lovers, brace your taste buds because Wendy, that red-haired girl has been churning up, been in the lab, mixing up all new Frosty lineup. You love to hear it. We're talking Frosty Swirls. We're talking Frosty Fusions, a.k.a. dessert chaos in a cup. Check it out. The swirls, you got the strawberry, the brownie butter, the caramel. Like, what have we been doing with our lives without those flavors? Go check them out right now. Those fusions. How about the entire flavor mayhem going on? Oreo, brownie, caramel, crunch, Pop-Tarts, strawberry. It's unreal. It's tough to beat what's going on. Dave Thomas built an empire, and it continues post RIP Dave Thomas with Wendy's churning out a new Frosties lineup, and you can get them almost as a midnight snack at most locations. Got to be Wendy's. Participating U.S. Wendy's hours may vary by location.
Big thanks to all of our sponsors today. And of course, become a diehard. GoPHNX.com. You're driving the show. Heck, this might not be the last one we do. I hope it's not. I'm loving these questions, Bo, on a football Friday. Keep them coming. How about a staple? We talk about Star Wars, staple in our diehard community. Can't wait to see him this fall at watch parties. It's Han Shot First in the chat and in the Discord. I love this. Jonathan Gannon, JG wins Coach of the Year. Monti becomes a household name as an NFL general manager. Cardinals win 12 games. Monti and JG get those well-deserved extensions. Also, Will Johnson wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Let's focus, since we touched on Will earlier, on Jonathan Gannon. He, I think, was right around odds 8 to 12, depending on what sports book you dabble, to win Coach of the Year. I think that you're probably looking at having to win the NFC West for that to happen. Would you agree with that?
Even that, because there's so many divisions, it's a slobber fest across the NFL. Like the NFC North, like people are going to look. Ben Johnson already has an edge. If he does anything in Chicago, they're going to be like, oh my God, he turned water into wine. Dan Campbell, like what was he was able to accomplish after the turnover there. It's just an uphill climb. And even winning the NFC West, like there should be credit for Jonathan Gannon out coaching Shanahan and McVay and leading his team in year 3 after a rebuild to a division title, but hopefully it doesn't go overlooked. I mean, hopefully what they see in the work that he's done, and it's not just a 1-year award, and the culture flip that Jonathan Gannon was able to accomplish here is recognized. And I think winning will only obviously put that the magnifying glass on Gannon and the Cardinals, and hopefully he does get rewarded for it. But it's so tough this day and age because there's so much love. There's such an East Coast bias that a guy like coaching the Cardinals, or even on the West Coast outside of McVay and Shanahan, are very rarely going to get their flowers.
Bruce Arians won it in 2014, got to 11 wins, didn't win the NFC West, but I mean the Cardinals were 9-1 or something like that. And Carson got hurt, and he was winning games with Drew Stanton. Had to start Ryan Lindley in a playoff game. It was obvious, like Cardinals had no business getting to the playoffs that year, and Arians kind of willed them in, just like he did with the Colts team a couple years prior. And he had the cachet. He had already Arians had become a household name by that point, at least in NFL inner circles. Gannon is going to have to, especially like we see the East Coast bias on display with that garbage ESPN article. It's like Gannon is not loved in Philadelphia by that fan base. And there's influential people that cover the Eagles at national networks out east. Like they are going to have to be undeniable. That's what it would have to look like. There are not going to be any shortcuts like there will be for other franchises. Thank you, On Shot First. Appreciate you, my guy. Jiffy Jackson, the famous Jiffy Jackson here in the Discord. The Cardinals will put themselves in a position to be the #1 team in the NFC West for years to come and a legit threat to the NFC. So we're talking about, hopefully, an NFC West erosion, right? Like, you look at the AFC South and how the Houston Texans have a lock on that division, right? So you would have to have something similar. So here's how that would have to go down, Jiffy Jackson. Let's go team by team, Bo Brock. I think it's pretty obvious with San Francisco. I think that fan base is ready to explode. I think another losing season and doubt and finger pointing, I think you could see a mutual parting of ways with Kyle Shanahan, which we would 100% be on board for. Maybe Robert Saleh gets promoted to head coach, whatever. That would begin the Niners' implosion. Like you're not finding a better coach than Shanahan. They will be viable and relevant as long as he's there. But if the Cardinals can somehow step on their throats this year and they can underachieve with that schedule, especially, I think you're in great shape.
Yeah.
Seahawks would have to have a horrendous year from Sam Darnold, who they gave a contract to, and then Jalen Milroe would have to just be average to below average. Like Geno Smith being good in Vegas and the Seahawks being worse at quarterback, that would help exponentially. And then we know what's going down in LA.
Yeah.
Stafford would have to be done. He'd have to be washed, and they'd have to have no heir apparent.
I'm going to say two things about the Seahawks, and they can be true at the same time. Like, I like how they've rebuilt this roster, right?
Yeah.
You know, post Pete Carroll, and even started before then. They've got a lot of interesting pieces, but at the same time, like, there's some things that can stunt their development and their ability to break through, and primarily being the quarterback position, their offensive play caller, that their entire identity on that side of the football. Like, we like the pieces they have really in place on defense. So, like, there are those big questions looming over Seattle, where I think San Francisco, it's the Final Destination movie. Like, the main characters continue to get picked off one by one. Last year, it was Deebo Samuel. He's no longer there. You had Dre Greenlaw. He ended up signing after suffering a big-time injury in the Super Bowl and being injured most of last season. Now he's a Denver Bronco. Mustafa, I think, is now with the no, not Mustafa. The other safety is now a member of the Broncos as well. And you start to see kind of a mass exodus there. And for them, their downfall to really continue. And it's likely, just the way how the NFL operates, like, a couple more of those stars who are aging, their performance, their productivity starts to fall off a cliff. And then what do we see with that, especially offensively, when there's not four aces, dealt to Brock Purdy?
Yeah,
he's not as good of a quarterback. So I think that continues to in this podcast's eyes be kind of a sinking ship, and the opportunities there for a lot of this division to be declining, where the Arizona Cardinals are on the upward trajectory. But like San Francisco, with multiple productive players falling off, the Cardinals need multiple players to step up. Like, it's not just like on Kyler Murray. It's you got Trey McBride and Garrett Williams emerged last year. Now you need like Paris Johnson Jr. to take a definitive jump and be that franchise guy. And I think he's on his way. Marvin Harrison Jr., no doubt about it. And guys on that defensive line to step up. And if they do, if they have a pop year, it does, bode well for them, to kind of take a stranglehold of this division for the next couple of years.
They're so vulnerable right now, that being the NFC West, if the Cardinals just get it together, right? Like, I say this all the time. Kyler Murray is how old? 27, first overall pick. He's still with the team. This is the time that you should be Josh Allen in the division, that there should be no doubt that this is your division. Come take it from me, right? You got teams out here signing Sam Darnold. You got teams out here. Matthew Stafford's almost 40 years old, right? Brock Purdy was a 7th rounder. This is your division. Own it. Like, the Cardinals, and it's unfortunate, and it's a big reason why they don't get notoriety. They have never owned the NFC West for a prolonged period of time. Like, for a while, it was the Legion of Booms, and then the McVay had his run. They won a Super Bowl, and the Niners have been viable and won multiple division titles. Like, win 3 out of 4 years in the NFC West. That's how people are going to be able to say, yeah, benefit of the doubt. Like, I saw the Madden ratings today, and they were a joke. I don't know if they're confirmed. Like, Cardinals are like second to last.
Yeah, I don't think this can't be real.
I know. I think
I don't think I don't think it's possible to have that low of a rating. Were they even that low last year? Were they 76 last year?
Were like third to last, so that can't be right. But yeah, my point remains. It's like, now is your time. You have the assets, young players on the roster, no bad contracts. I mean, it's on the franchise quarterback. Keeping things going. A great question from Jiffy Jackson. Gannonite, friend of the program, fixture in the chat, and crushing it in the Discord. The league adjusts to Cliff, and he doesn't. So he is predicting a year 2 downfall for the Commanders. OC, former Cardinal coach Cliff Kingsbury. Regression City, Bo. Could it happen? Do you think it will?
It's very possible. I mean, it happened really from 2013 until last season consistently for Cliff Kingsbury, and he was able to overcome that. There were a couple signs where you thought, oh, the Commanders, they were going to come back to earth, but they were able to overcome that and make an unbelievable run to the NFC Championship game. And you got to give them credit for that. And then, got their doors blown off by the Eagles in the championship game. But I don't know, man. As much as just because there's so many receipts of us talking so much trash about Cliff Kingsbury because what we we knew to be true, based on all the stats and everything that proved him to fall apart at the end of the season. Like he was able to combat that, and he's got a really special player in Jaden Daniels that I think should give him the ability to hopefully hold that off for a little bit longer. But I know the Commanders are a team that people are kind of trending on regressing a little bit based of last season, but I don't know, man. You get the quarterback play, your offense should consistently stay steady.
Agreed. I think Jaden Daniels is almost kind of like regression proof, which is crazy. I mean, as much as like CJ Stroud like was the OG Jaden Daniels a couple years ago, what Jaden did this year, especially in the playoffs, his efficiency, it's tough to beat. I think like there's a possibility they could be better in the regular season, but like worse in the playoffs. I still don't love their roster. But I mean, like Cliff Kingsbury is a fixture in the NFL now. Like he just is. Yeah. He's going to be either an OC indefinitely. He'll be passed around teams if he flames out with the Commanders, or he's eventually going to get another head job. But he's better suited, I think, for the pro game as an offensive coordinator because he just has to focus on that one unit. Doesn't have to focus on his locker room, 53 leader of men. It's just like scheme some plays up, work with the quarterback. And he has a skill set. So we gave him all the flowers, as Bo mentioned this year. And he's not somebody I root against.
Right.
Rather that, always professional, always complimentary when talking about his time in Arizona. Brian, friend of the program, even though he's throwing shade the other day, your boy, or maybe that was Brian A. This is Brian P., also a fixture of the show in the chat. We appreciate you, Brian. How about this, Bo? Sweaty J, Josh Sweat, gets 8 sacks this year and is third on the team in sacks. Hot damn. So 8 sacks, as you predicted earlier, between 7 and 9. But he's behind 2 other players. Who are those other 2 players, Bo? If Sweaty J's got 8 sacks.
Oh, man. You got to look to the edge, right? So you're thinking the usual suspects, right? Zaven Collins? No, probably not. BJ Ojulari and Baron Browning.
I'll disagree. I'll agree with you halfway. I think Darius Robinson could like have a huge year rushing the passer. I'm putting that out there and hoping that it happens. And he could have 8.5 sacks and jump Sweaty J. What if Baron Browning is a guy this year that they invested in camp with a good defensive tackle group and just explodes? Like, could crazier things happen? He was not what some people told us he would be at the trade deadline. He had some juice, but I think he was very like Jag-like, just a guy at times. But they re-signed him, repping a single digit, which I love. What would it take? What would it take for Baron Browning to F around and get to double-digit sacks this year?
And just getting home. I know everybody will go and point to his pressures, but can he finish the job? Can he get opposing quarterbacks on the turf? And then in order for Sweaty J to be third, I mean, I know you like Darius, but like BJ Ojulari, and I mean, there's got to be a couple guys kind of pushing for that. Was Brian, go back to this question real quick, if you don't mind, Noah, is his profile pic in the exclusive member Discord, is that Chris Farley, the school bus driver from Billy Madison?
That's what it looks like.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an incredible throwback. That's that is correct. That's that is right there. An all-timer.
Yes.
One of Adam Sandler's greatest films.
It's a fantastic throwback. We got a couple more questions to get to, but if you want to see him, you got to jump on over as we're going into overtime. PHNX Cardinals here on a Football Friday, over 200 watching live. We appreciate all of you, as do we appreciate our many streaming partners. Become a diehard, and you can host a show through the chat. Like our guy Reezy Baby. Reezy Baby dropping this nugget in the chat. Dante Still in year 3, not Walter Nolen, not Darius Robinson, not Calais Campbell or Dalvin Tomlinson. It's Dante Stills makes the Pro Bowl by being our sack leader. So Dante Stills, for those of you who don't know, been living under a rock, is a 6th-round rookie, former 6th-round rookie out of West Virginia. He's 25 years old. Last year, he had a career-high 4.5 sacks. The year before, he had 3.5 sacks. He is right now probably a fringe roster player. I think they'll keep him. I want them. I think it would be a malpractice of draft and development. He's making no money. For him to lead the team in sacks, and it didn't just say lead the team in sacks, make the Pro Bowl. So he has to be breaking out and be good. Like I think a couple of years ago, 3.5 sacks might have led the team. I don't know. So he has to just become undeniable. It would take injuries. It would take, I think, slow development from Walter Nolen.
Yeah.
And then for him to just completely transform his body, his makeup. I think he could be a nice player this year. I wouldn't get rid of him. Certainly not for Bilal Nichols or Justin Jones, but a lot would have to happen for those dominoes to fall.
A lot, right? And cracking this roster. It's a testament to the depth. But you got to make the roster, and then you got to be active on game days.
Yep.
You got to crack the rotation, and then you got to be productive. And I love the hype to gas up the 6th-round pick out of West Virginia. But I look at this as mostly there'd be a negative. Like you got 2 1st-round investments at his position group and a lot of cap dollars. To your point, like if he's undeniable, fine, but just we haven't seen that version of Dante Stills. Does it exist as a former a 6th-round pick, a day 3 pick out of West Virginia? I love the boldness, but it's one of the more far-fetched ones. But I love it, Reezy baby. That's what this is all about.
It's a hot take, and again, like I think he is worth investing in, keeping around. I wouldn't move off of him. Like a 6th-rounder who's producing for you, that's like never happens for this franchise.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of him. No, let's not. Let's get to Lou. Sweet Lou in the chat, in the Discord. The 49ers, I love the chef's kiss, despite the easiest schedule in the league, finished last in the division. We're ready, Lou, you and I, brothers in arms, to put them in the ground, get the tombstone ready. I want not only their season to be done, I want the roster to implode. I want their head coach to quit and or be fired. I want the Brock Purdy deal not to age well. I'm so tired of the narrative with this franchise where they just get benefit of the doubt after benefit of the doubt. All, PFF's got him top 5 in receiving core without Ayuk or Debo, and McCaffrey with 2 arthritis-filled knees is going to take over fantasy football again, and their defensive tackle group is horrendous, and it'll be fine even though we lost Ufunga and all Shadavius Ward. Nick Bosa is hurt, and Trent Williams is 100 years old. Like I'm ready, because here's what they have not done, and I liked their 1st-rounder this year. They have not drafted and developed well as of late. They went all in. Their Super Bowl bubble firmly popped, in my opinion. I want the cracks in the foundation. I want them to be exposed this year. And it's like, remember how we thought the Niners were good? Where are their young playmakers? Where are their young cornerstones defensively? Oh, wait, they don't have any.
Yeah. It's been some fantastic questions. We've got a couple more, but hit that like button for Die Hard Day. You're hitting a like for yourself, for members of your community that you chatted up with each and every day, and they deserve at least that much. I just need it. I look at their schedule, Johnny, and mentioned it in the in his point there is like the worst schedule in the league, Sweet Lou. But it's almost like slump proof. Like they open up against the Seahawks, fine. Like you could say, Seahawks could win that game. It's a home game for them. But then they take on the Saints. They're terrible. They get a win there, and then they could potentially lose to the Cardinals at home on September 21st, but then they play the Jags, and then they play the Rams, but then it starts to get a little bit easier for them. Like they face the likes of the Falcons, the likes of the Giants. They finished the season with Carolina and Cleveland. Like if they do bottom out, like will San Francisco finally say, hey, that was 2 horrible seasons, Shanahan? Like, would they move on, you think?
I think so. I think there'd be like, hey, Shanny, go. And I don't know if John Lynch would keep his job, but I think they would, depending on how the defense looks, I could see them just like promoting Robert Saleh. If they really implode and nothing works, I think they would have too much respect for Shanahan. They would let him go. He would go and get a head job elsewhere and succeed. And they would literally start over. Purdy's got to be bad, though. Purdy's got to regress, pick sixes, maybe an injury mixed in. Like they have to look at their landscape of the roster and be like, we're really at a downturn. Like Ricky Pearsall is being talked about more than Marvin Harrison Jr. They took, who's the edge rusher they got that we liked from
Michael Williams.
Michael Williams is being heralded as the next great pass rusher. He hasn't played it down yet. Like those kind of players have to underperform. And if it does, like they have Hall of Famers on their roster that are about done. McCaffrey, borderline Hall of Famer. Trent Williams, lock. He's 100 years old. Bosa, what if he gets hurt? They have elite coaching, but the personnel has to fail them.
Let's keep it going here. What do we got? We got one more?
We got one more. Right. Last one of the day.
Nate jumping in. He got in early. Look at that. 9:13 a.m. Jalen Thompson contract year will lead the team in interceptions again like he did in 2023. When that happens, the Cards will have one of the best secondaries in the league this year if they can stay healthy.
I dig it. Jalen Thompson, to me, 2 years ago, best player on the Cardinals defense. Last year, hampered by injury, and now it's a numbers game. If he's on the field, that means he's producing, because they're not going to have him out there with Taylor Demerson waiting in the wings if he's not a big time playmaker. So I think this defense, we have not seen a Jonathan Gannon secondary yet in Arizona that's been supported by a pass rush. So they're going to get a pass rush this year, Bo, and then we're going to be able to see like who can really take the ball away. And we know Jalen has that in his repertoire. So that would be interesting and be like, okay, he leads the team. Let's say he has like 6 picks and or 7 picks and has a great year. You just like let him walk the next offseason? Probably, given the position. Pretty wild. Hopefully he gets paid regardless.
Yeah, and gets to continue. Shockingly young for as long as he's been in the league. So hopefully lots of productive years for Jalen Thompson remaining in the NFL. We're big fans here on this show. Thank you for everybody for their contributions, their questions, their bold takes for our Die Hard Day show. One housekeeping thing, 30 of the 32 second round picks remain unsigned. One of those, Will Johnson. He's the only Cardinals draft pick that hasn't signed his rookie deal. So that's just a hold up, league wide. That's nothing to be concerned about. So Will Johnson, Agent Zero, Sub Zero, whatever we want to call it, put out some there was the sweet pictures that went out of Will Johnson during Cards Media Day, where he looks unbelievable, the no-fly zone. No concern about Will Johnson getting into camp. This is not like a Shamar Stewart situation. It's all about kind of what happened with the Texans and I think the Browns, where they fully guaranteed a couple second-round deals, and I think the rest of the league is trying to figure out how they're going to structure their second-round pick contracts.
It's been a banner week here at PHNX Sports and ALLCITY. We appreciate everybody's charitable donations for Big Brother, Big Sister. Raised over $10,000. I think it was over $13,000 to start today. And that's because of all of you making this community what it is and giving back to people who need it the most. Become a part of Big Brothers and Big Sisters today. Become a big. Change the life of a little. And thank you so much for your community involvement. And again, consider becoming a diehard. We have a lot of fun with these. We plan on doing some more. And of course, some diehard exclusive events coming up later this summer. And the only place to check it all out, Bo, is gophnx.com.
That's where it is. Yep. Gophnx.com. Great content there. Trying to figure out where KD's going to go. Gerald Bourguet is back in the fold. He's churning out content there. Don't miss out on any of it. Sign up to become a diehard today. Banner Week, Spirit Week. Thank you for everybody's contributions. It was fun. We got to rep some of our favorite gear. You can get this in the merchandise locker. You can also, look at that. The MHJ that Johnny says is going to be restocked. We've been promised
Any day.
that. So you're going to get that going on. And then, was it Leah and Emma pinch hitting for us in the, what was it? The musical chairs segment. We had our mystery guest, Frank Sanders, join us. The Cardinals great. Check out that content. And we talked to Ari Merov on the heels of his conversation with Monti Ossenfort. Check out all that here. You got to subscribe to PHNX Sports because the content never stops. But for Noah, great work there. For Johnny, for myself, for all of you who built the show today, you diehards, thank you so much. Noah, you got something before we get out of here?
Yes, one last thing. Thank you to Shaft for his $25 donation.
Thank you, Shaft. We appreciate you, my friend.
Huge. Thank you to Shaft. Always so generous with his time, his money in the super chats, and also here giving to big brothers, big sisters. Guys, have a great weekend, barring any breaking news that we don't anticipate. We'll talk to you Monday, 4:30, brand new PHNX cards.
We all silly like the mayor.